regarding the pronunciation charts, the first two, the lips and the head, are just references. Normally, we talk about a sound, and especially for the last couple of years, when I've had to wear a mask, it was just good to have a reference rather than subjecting them to my drawings. Sometimes I do represent mouth positions, or often do, with my hands, which seems to work. Mm-hmm. But then the addition of the diaphragm is that that's there because masks or no masks, if I ask an individual or the class for an answer, I often can't hear them. Mm-hmm. So it's a physiological
reality.
Issue of sit up, breathe. I have noticed some improvement in terms of their vocal power just by teaching them that. I started doing that, I think, this last semester. So, the format of the worksheet is pretty much the same. For the fall, though, I'm going to remove some of the, I guess, clutter and just put it on one sheet as a reference. But
exactly,
everything that's there is there for a reason. Maybe, some of the reasons have changed, or not changed, but maybe I can present the material in a separate sheet. But there is, right or wrong, some rationale for everything that's there.
Good that you're verbalizing it. It's helping me understand what was going on in the lesson. And then I saw your Word document as well, which I had seen on the screen already. And I was wondering, like, what, because all those things would have been kind of okay in an official pronunciation lesson, where the whole lesson is working around that. And then if you've had that lesson with your group, then going forward throughout the whole semester, you can be just saying, remember when we were practicing, and remember when I showed you the lungs, and you should, but to keep exposing them to the same, pictures and cluttering, as you say, your worksheet with stuff that has been taught before is not the streamlined, lean kind of lesson plan that in a Delta situation we'd be wanting to look at. So it's okay to refer back to things that had happened in previous lessons, or but you'd be just referring to them. You wouldn't want to have them be looking at it again in a natural disaster lesson, etc. So these are seemingly minor things, but what we're working towards is just leaner, more principled, more streamlined, more focused, and sharper. So sharp means today I am teaching hurricane, tornado to get stuck in, food supply, and fuck, what do we do now? Just kidding, probably. So, but that's my set. And therefore, if I want to help them notice the meaning of each in context, that is 10 minutes on its own, right? Then if I want to go deeper with form, so there's like a gap fill to check the spelling of the words, or if there is a grammar issue, how you conjugate, what happens with the expression in use. Then I want to deal with which is pronunciation, a quick choral drill. First drill, you can drill everything and you shouldn't. So just like thinking again with the target learner of hurricane, tsunami, and flood, which is going to be a bigger challenge. I want to spend 5 seconds more on that. And this will be reflected in my lesson plan so that my trainer can see explicitly. And then, appropriacy, if relevant. Appropriacy is the last one because many words are neutral. So there is no appropriacy issue that they're rude, offensive, pejorative. But it's there because if there is such an issue, you do want to consider, kind of helping them notice it. If all this happens, you won't have 60 minutes for modal verbs and diaphragm references, etc. So that's what I mean by sharp and more aligned. That you know, if you align stuff, even if you wanted to talk about modal verbs, you're not going to be able to, because there is so much of the good things happening that it's going to crowd out all the clutter using your verb.